Hello everyone. In this video, we'll walk through what to do after your workspace has been upgraded to the Enhanced Identity and Access Management experience on the HPE GreenLake platform. We'll also cover why moving to a strong domain claim is recommended and how this applies to both single and multiple workspace setups across enterprise and MSP environments. Once you log in, navigate to Manage Workspace. You will notice a few indicators confirming the upgrade, such as organization information, along with tiles like domains, SCIM integrations, and SSO. If you open the SSO configuration tile, your existing SSO configuration is already in place and active. Your domain configuration also persists in the new model and is now displayed as Shared Legacy Domain or Legacy Domain. At this stage, no immediate action is required. You will see Legacy Domain if your domain is not shared between other organizations. At this stage, HPE strongly recommends moving to a strong domain claim. Why does this matter? A strong domain claim ensures that your organization has full ownership and control over authentication for your domain. It improves security, governance, and consistency across users and workspaces. Simply put, it ensures that only your organization controls who can log in using your company domain. As we get into the configuration, let's quickly align on the scenarios. Most customers typically fall into one of these: single workspace, multiple enterprise workspaces, or a mix of enterprise and MSP workspaces. There's also one important aspect to highlight around connections. In the Enhanced IAM model, a domain and its associated connections are managed within a single organization. This means that if you have multiple workspaces or domains using the same connection, those domains must be claimed within the same organization. Keeping this alignment in mind helps ensure a smooth, strong domain claim and consistent authentication behavior across your environment. Now, here's the key point. The steps we are about to perform remain the same across all scenarios. What changes slightly is how it reflects in your environment afterwards. Also, just to call this out, your user login experience does not change. This is purely a behind-the-scenes security and control enhancement. Now let's perform the key step, claiming the domain. This is really the only step you need to perform regardless of your scenario. Click on the three dots next to your domain and select View TXT Record. Copy this DNS text record and add it to your organization's DNS server. This is essentially GreenLake asking, can you prove you own this domain? Once added, return here and click Verify Domain. After verification, the domain status will change to verified. At this point, your domain becomes a strong domain claim, enabling secure and trusted authentication. In most cases, verification completes within a few minutes. However, depending on DNS propagation, it can take up to 72 hours. Once verification is complete, you'll notice something reassuring. Nothing else has changed. SSO is still active and the users still log in the same way. But behind the scenes, your domain is now fully owned and verified by your organization. This is where you move from a shared model to a trusted, controlled model. Now, if you fall into scenario 1, 4, or 5, which is essentially a single workspace setup, you are done at this point. Once the domain is verified, there's nothing more to configure. Even in MSP tenant scenarios, if SSO is tied to a single workspace, the behavior remains exactly the same. For those of you in scenario 2 or 3, things get a bit more interesting. If you have multiple workspaces using the same identity provider, you only need to perform the strong domain claim once. Identify your primary workspace. This is where you configure it. For other organizations using the same domain and connection, the behavior is slightly different. The domain and connections are removed from those organizations, and the existing legacy authentication policy is converted to an external authentication policy. From a user perspective, SSO remains aligned and there is no need to reconfigure anything. This ensures a single domain managed in one place, acting as a source of truth across your environment. This applies equally to mixed setups, where you have both enterprise and MSP workspaces. Again, the approach remains the same. That is, pick one primary workspace and perform the strong domain claim there. All other workspaces automatically aligned as external domains. That brings us to the end of this walkthrough. We covered what changes after the IAM upgrade, why strong domain claim is important, and how to configure it across different scenarios. The key takeaway is that while the step remains the same, it gives you a much more secure and consistent identity setup across your environment. Thank you for watching.